Hey there everyone, Juanito Shit here, and as you can clearly tell, this video is about the games that were announced nearly 3 weeks ago, Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, two games exclusive to the Nintendo 3DS console. And if you're anything like me, you've been a fan of the Pokemon franchise and its games since before you could even read. I know I have been. I remember back in my infancy days when I used to play Pokemon Yellow and Red and Blue on my green Game Boy Color, which I still own. I don't have the games that I used to have back at that time, but I do have Yellow, Red, and Blue once again, and you can bet that I'll be playing those in a bit after I'm done with the current Pokemon games that I'm playing on the Nintendo DS. And despite the fact that I've been pretty much a Pokemon fan all my life, I've never actually gone into the 5th generation. I'm in the 4th generation right now, and it wasn't until just a few weeks ago that I bought Pokemon Diamond and I started to get into the 4th generation. Not because I didn't want to, not because I had anything against the newer generations, because I don't. I love all generations, including the 5th generation, despite the fact that I haven't actually gotten to it yet. So I just beat the Pokemon League and the champion Cynthia in Pokemon Diamond about a week ago, and I'm still finishing up on that game. I want to battle some people online, so if you're interested, you can drop your friend code in the comment section below, or you can send it to me in a message, however you like it, so that'd be fun. I don't have many strong Pokemon in that game just yet because they're just in the late 50s, and it's not the best team. I'm not a master of Pokemon, I've never been, but I've always enjoyed the series, so I always tend to play them. I also just got Pokemon Pearl yesterday and Pokemon Soul Silver the day before yesterday, so I'll be playing those games in a bit as well after I'm done getting through everything I want to do in Pokemon Diamond. But now it's time to get to the actual focus of this video, Pokemon X and Pokemon Y. If you're a big fan like me, you've been excited about Pokemon X and Y since they were announced just a little over 2 weeks ago. And if you compare me to thousands and thousands of other YouTube uploaders here on YouTube, I guess you could say that I'm a bit late to the Pokemon X and Y party because I've already seen that there are hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of YouTube videos in which people give their own thoughts about the upcoming games and the starters and the legendaries and stuff of that sort. So I'm here to give you guys my own 2 cents as well as to ask you what you guys think of the upcoming generation of Pokemon. So what I want to do in a rapid manner is give you guys a quick rundown of what we already know of the upcoming generation of games. Alright, so to start off, first we got the 3 new starters for this 6th generation of Pokemon. You got them in the forms of Chespin, the Grass-type Pokemon, Fennekin, the Fire-type Pokemon, and Froakie, the Water-type Pokemon. And from what I've seen from forums and gaming websites and YouTube videos so far, as always with each new generation of Pokemon games, there's a mixed reaction to these new starters. But of course, I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. In this bag of mixed reactions, there's always the typical Pokemon haters that hate everything about the new Pokemon generation and who can't stand the designs of the new starters, who say that they look weak, that they probably suck, that they don't like that the new types are probably gonna be when they evolve and such. And then there's the fans such as myself who love the new changes, who always welcome the new generations with open arms. I mean, we're not completely oblivious to the changes that they make to the Pokemon games and the Pokemon designs and such, but in the end it's Pokemon and we always tend to appreciate more of it since we're big fans. Alright, so let's get down to specifics, starting off with Chespin, the Grass-type Pokemon. From what I've seen, Chespin seems to be the least liked of the 3 new starters. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's because he's the Grass-type starter, because over the years I've observed that people don't tend to like the Grass-type Pokemon as much as the Fire and Water types. People have told me that they find it to be the least effective, or they simply don't have the patience to train a Grass-type Pokemon, or they just don't like using it in battle and it's not a type that they really like. But Chespin seems to be the least liked of the 3 new starters. And when you look at him in his appearance, he looks like a brown Oshawott crossed with a Snivy. And, that's what people have told me, and that's what I agree with. And it's not a bad appearance. He's actually kind of cute, but yet again, starters usually tend to be, and that's not a bad thing. But personally, I think that Chespin looks alright in his appearance, and judging by his colors and by fan art that I've seen on the internet, maybe Chespin could evolve into a grass and ground Pokemon. But yet again, you also look at other images such as this one in which Chespin's evolutions are sporting darker colors, indicating that perhaps he could be another grass and poison type Pokemon like Bulbasaur was. However, of course, as always, I'd love to hear your feedback on Chespin. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Next up, we have the water type starter in the form of Froakie, and I've seen that Froakie has had a warmer reception than Chespin has had. Maybe it's due simply to the fact that Froakie is the water type starter, and from what I've seen over the years, people have loved using starters such as Squirtle and using Totodile and such because they claim that their evolutions are very effective, so maybe Froakie's evolutions will be effective as well. And I've also seen Froakie be praised on his design, on his physical appearance. I've seen that people think he looks wise because the shapes of his eyes remind them of old lady glasses, making him look wise. So I also agree with that. I think that maybe Froakie could develop into something we haven't seen before in the form of a water and psychic dual type Pokemon. However, then you look at fan art images such as in this one, in which his evolutions have purple in them, indicating that perhaps Froakie could turn out to be a water and poison dual type Pokemon in his final evolutions. Or you look at this other one and you look at the first evolution, Froakie, in which he looks actually kind of smart and elegant and quiet, and perhaps that could lead once again to Froakie evolving into a water psychic type Pokemon. Or then you look at the second evolution and the last form, Pompode, in which he looks kind of dumb. He looks, like he's hypnotized by something and his giant tongue is sticking out. But, he looks like a powerful Pokemon as well. Kind of reminds me of Psyduck. Psyduck is also water type, and, perhaps he has a headache or he's hypnotized, as I said before. And, he could turn out to be that water and psychic type. But then I also look at images such as this one, and I really like this last image. I think he looks pretty cool, despite the fact that he seems to have a gigantic white mustache on his face, and then the area around his eyes jut out like Fennekin's ears, although I think that looks nice as well. And then you have all that white fur that looks like clouds, so that could perhaps indicate that this last evolution would be a water and ice type, which wouldn't be so bad in my opinion. However, I want to know what you guys think about Froakie. So go ahead and do leave your opinion in the comments section below. Now moving on to the last starter, the fire type Fennekin. And if by any chance you've been paying close attention, you'll realize that I have been going from the starter that I have seen has been the least favored of the three to the most popular one. And I do have to say that by far, and I do mean by far, Fennekin has been the most favored of the three new starters. I've seen people praise Fennekin in every way up to right now that's possible, from Fennekin's appearance to the fact that it's a fire type to the fact that it's based on the Fennec Fox. People just seem to have gone nuts for Fennekin, more so than they ever went for Chespin or Froakie, and quite frankly, I see why. I see the appeal. I've always noticed that the fox has been a much more popular animal than a frog or a otter or whatever the heck Chespin happens to be has ever been. If there is anything that is working against Fennekin's popularity, it's the fact that Fennekin is a fire type, and people are just hoping that Fennekin does not turn out to be another fire and fighting Pokemon when it does evolve. And then when you go to gaming websites and forums and the like, you see fan art such as this image right here, in which Fennekin's evolution looks actually majestic and it follows a similar color scheme. And I really like this image right here. So, if they went with something similar, I'd really be happy with this certain evolution. But of course, with Pokemon fans, there's always variety, so there are other different looks that people have come up with, such as the following ones. For example, you look at this evolution line right here. As you can see, there's Fennekin on the top left corner of the image, and then the other two evolutions, they follow the same color scheme that you find on Fennekin in its original form. As you can see, very fox-like, the evolutions, and on the last one you can see that it has the white fur, and they go upwards and they end up in what look like flames, indicating of course that it's a fire type, which is not bad. And then you have other fan art, such as in this image right here, in which Fennekin's evolution looks a bit more mouse-like, despite the fact that it keeps the same color scheme found in Fennekin. As you can judge by the physical appearance and the facial features, the nose ends up turning pointed and long like on a mouse, but it does keep the same color scheme, and it does look like an evolution that Fennekin would have. Judging by the long limbs and the pose that this evolution happens to be in, it could indicate that Fennekin's evolution could be just another fire and fighting dual type Pokemon, which I'm sure we all hope will not be the case. But overall, Fennekin does happen to be the most popular starter out of the three new Pokemon, despite the fact that Chespin and Froakie do have their own good fair share of the Pokemon fan base. Anyway guys, I realize that I've taken more than enough of your time by now. This video actually turned out to be quite longer than I intended it to be, even after all the editing, so I ask you to forgive me for that. I didn't mean to take up so much of your time. However, I do think there will be a part 2 of the Pokemon X and Y videos in which I speculate the new legendaries for the upcoming game. So you might want to check that out when it is eventually uploaded to the channel. So I once again thank you for watching, and I leave you with this fan-made image of the final forms of the evolutions of the three new starters. Anyway guys, leave your comments and your opinions in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys expect out of the Pokemon X and Y games. I really love to hear about it, but I guess I'll catch you in the next video. Thank you for watching.